they've been pretty solid since that 4-0 loss to Brentford. Albeit, I think they haven't been, some games they've won haven't been that convincing. They beat Southampton 1-0. I think they beat Everton 2-1. Was a decent result, but it's not like they've been unbelievable. But they've been pretty good and tough to play against. And we know. And look, in all honesty, you look at their players they have, and they've got quality players. They're like no doubt about it. We're not playing a side who are the better than the sum of its parts. We're definitely playing a team who are underachieving into the quality of players they have, and that's always a bit of a scary prospect because one day they can just turn it on and catch you by surprise, and it could easily be tomorrow.
Which actually exactly what happened last season, right? We went there with the greatest intentions, played a really good game, and got outdone with the quality of player on the day.
Yeah, and that was really frustrating because we kept we were the better team, and they just kept getting ahead. Like we were never ahead in that game, and we would equalise. We'd spend loads of time chasing the game, and then we'd finally equalise, and then Ronaldo would just turn up with something out of nothing, and then we'd be behind again.
Literally leap and hang in the air for 10 years and get ahead.
He scored like a 30-yarder that game, didn't he? Like it was unbelievable.
Eric didn't get out quick
yeah, exactly. But look, that's probably been his best performance in the United shirt. Like I don't think
he scored a couple of hat-tricks last season, didn't he?
But that was like the first game I've seen like him proper carry United like to that level. It was incredible. He kind of whether he will do that, whether he will even start on Wednesday remains to be seen. But he doesn't. Obviously, he wanted to leave in the summer. We know that. And whenever I've seen him this season, doesn't quite cut the same figures he did last season at the moment. But with Ronaldo, you get the ball to him, and he's still a master finisher, whatever you want to say about him. So if he does start, he's clearly going to be one you got to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the two players we've marked out as ones to watch, we've got Marcus Rashford and Anthony. Anthony started life in the Premier League like a duck, taking it to like a duck to water, scored 3 goals already in 4 games. Marcus Rashford, a lot of fans were calling him finished last season, Marcus Rashford. He's come back and responded fairly well to Ten Hag systems. How highly do you rate these two, and how impressed have you been with them this season?
Anthony, I think is good. I think he's had a brilliant start to life at Man United. But from what I've seen of him, it's a bit interesting because in all 3 games that he scored in, he's pretty very similar goals against Arsenal, against Man City, and against Everton. 3 good left-footed finishes. But it's interesting because he scored those 3 goals, but I don't think it's like he's put in performances where you're saying like he's been brilliant in those games in a way, because he's scored some really good goals, good finishes obviously, but it's almost like those moments have been plucked, like singular moments from those games, as opposed to like he hasn't exactly terrorized any fullbacks yet, if you know what I mean. It's not, and that's one of his biggest traits, his dribbling ability, his ability to take people on in one-on-one situations and link play. What I've seen from him, he clearly has a very good shot on him, but he hasn't quite found that consistency over a whole 90 minutes yet of his displays. And
don't say that too loudly when we're playing them tomorrow.
Yeah, but maybe he will find it tomorrow, but I haven't seen it yet. That's all I'm saying. In the 4 games he started, albeit as I say, he's obviously clearly got good finishing ability. I think like once those moments dry up for him, our fans are going to start getting frustrated with him. And I think he has to add a bit more consistency to his displays, albeit obviously great start. Rashford's an interesting one because I think he's done really well, but he's done very well against the big teams.
Yeah.
And then against the other teams, he hasn't done as well. And I think against us, what Rashford thrives on is space in behind. He's one of the best players in not only in the Premier League, but probably in Europe when it comes to space in behind. Maybe only
how good do you reckon? One of the best players in Europe.
When it comes to having space in behind and having a run on players and finishing, I think he's sensational. I really do.
How do you think he compares to someone like Heung-min Son?
I think Son's better, but Rashford's still very up there. Son is like elite. He's an elite player at that. So Rashford is very good at it as well, but he struggles when he's denied that space, and when it's very congested. He's when he's up front, especially when he's up front, he's very easily muscled off the ball. His hold up play isn't very strong. He doesn't seem to have the confidence anymore to take multiple people on. He seems to try and get a run on them when it's space. And tomorrow, I think that's exactly what he's going to be denied, that space. Yeah. And I think Spurs are set up to deny people like Rashford. I think that's what Spurs are very good at. It's that you're not going to see us caught out too many times in behind when we have 3 centre-backs and then the 2 wing-backs as well helping out, and the 2 centre-mids. It's very difficult for teams to get in behind us, and that's why where you're seeing when teams have shots a goal against Spurs, it's always in front of us. It's always low XG shots. They're always outside the box, or even when it's inside the box, there's always at least 1 or 2 defenders in the way, and you have to get past those defenders and the keeper, and it's always very unlikely to score. And that's what's going to make it difficult for Man United to break us down. Having said that, if we are caught, because there will be periods, I'm hoping anyway, where we do have the ball, we are pressing a bit higher up the pitch, like we were against maybe Everton and Frankfurt, where there were periods where we had possession and we were using our pressing structure to pen up Man United in. Now, that's all well and good. We just got to be very careful in those moments. We don't get caught by Rashford, and we don't allow, say, Bruno or an Eriksen time on the ball in those times to pick Rashford out, because if they do, that's going to be a very dangerous moment for us. But I think in general play, I think we should have people like Rashford well shackled.
Yeah, who we might not have well shackled is maybe players that have their shooting boots on for about 30, 25 yards. And Man United got a lot of them. They got Ronaldo, they got Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, Christian Eriksen. You know, all these players that love to ping a shot from 30 yards. I mean, that's where the real danger lies for me, because, you know, we're quite comfortable letting teams have shots from that kind of distance. But, you know, we don't let those players get in behind, like you're saying, with a Rashford. And how much of a worry is that for you?
Yeah, it is a big worry. And that's part of the reason I'd play a 3-5-2. I know Conte said he would rather stay with a 3-4-3. I do just get, I don't know, there was something about that answer that got me feeling like he's trying to pull one over on Ten Hag.
That's exactly what I felt as well. Exactly what I felt. I was thinking to myself last night that after watching Conte's thing, and I was like, we're going 3-5-2 this week.
Yeah, I just got that feeling. Why is he saying we're going to play Gil? Like he's like oh yeah, Perisic, where he's still an option.
I completely agree.
I don't know. I get the feeling he's just putting it out there to maybe throw off Ten Hag.
It's either that or Kulusevski's back.
Yeah, and I hope he is back, and that'll be brilliant. But I just get the feeling we will go 3-5-2, and if we do that, that should really help stopping long range shots, and it should stop Man United. Even if they do get a shot off, it won't be a shot which they have time and space to get off, and there'll be centre mids there trying to close them down and making sure that it's not easy for them. So that's part of the reason I'd go 3-5-2 tomorrow, and also think if we go 3-5-2. I think if Man United do play, on the front foot, then that should easily lend to Kane and Son getting lots of opportunities in the central areas going forward. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, for sure, they got many long-range shooters, and that's something that you can't allow. You definitely don't want to allow them too many efforts with time and space and around the penalty area, because they can punish you. But I think from a defensive standpoint, I think I can see it being a very congested game in the centre of the park tomorrow, and I think that might suit us.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you bring up the opposition lineup, this is a lineup which I picked out, which could potentially see tomorrow, with Dalot right back, Shaw left back, De Gea in goal, Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, Eriksen, Fernandes, Anthony, Rashford, and Ronaldo up top. In terms of that back two pairing, we saw in Martinez's, I think, who was it against? I think it was in his first game in English football. We saw him got physically dominated with the aerial presence. I mean, is that something Harry Kane will be looking to do?
Thing is with Martinez, he's very aggressive, and he's very he's a bit like Romero in that sense. He's albeit he might not be the tallest, but he's still very strong and very aggressive. So when you're playing anything along the ground and you're not backing into him using your strength. Like if you're not overpowering him, he's always fairly likely to outmuscle you and win the ball. It's more aerially where you can definitely get the jump on him. That's something I think Kane can definitely do, can definitely get the better of him as. When it comes to on the ground though, he's still as good as a lot of other centre-backs in the league. So I think Kane will fancy his chances in the air, and maybe when the ball's played to his chest at holding the ball up, I think he'll fancy his chances against Martinez. Definitely something we can look at. But I don't think we should underestimate him, because I think he's actually turned his United career around somewhat, and he's actually started to play really well after that early period. But definitely from like set pieces and stuff, that's something we should be targeting him at for sure. And I think because he's not as tall as other centre backs, you can definitely out jump him, and you can definitely win headers and things like that. But like for example, if you got Kane backing into him, just like a player backing into Romero, you don't have a lot of luck there. You get a lot of luck up against Martinez? I'm not 100% sure.
And if you bring up that opposition lineup graphic once again, in terms of the players that are injured or maybe a doubt, you've got Wan-Bissaka, Brandon Williams, Donny van den Beek. Christian Eriksen is an interesting one because he was out of the last game against Newcastle ill, but I think they do expect him to make this game, and he's been brilliant so far for them, hasn't he? In terms of Martial, I mean, I don't think it's too much of a loss for them because he's another one that likes to get in behind and stuff like that. And Maguire is Harry Maguire. Yeah,
they've been so much better since they dropped him, haven't they?
But let's talk about Eriksen for a bit. And Conte was talking in his press conference saying that he would love to manage him again in his career. Why did we not push the boat out and get him through? Because he's showing all the attributes in a Man U shirt that we need right now.
Yeah, and especially if we do play a 3-5-2 more regularly, I think he's obviously perfect for that kind of system, and I think he would be so good for us in that system if we had him, and he would add an extra element to that formation, because one of the drawbacks of the formation that we have is obviously in the midfield trio would be Basuma, Højbjerg and Bentancur, and as much as they're good players, you do lose that edge on the ball when it comes to a bit of quality and a bit of creativity and things like that. So Eriksen would just be perfect for that role, and he would have the security of 2 centre mids next to him. Unfortunately, apparently the sticking point was the contract length. We didn't want to offer him a 3-year deal. Man United were willing to offer him a 3-year deal, and that seems to be what has been the sticking point in him moving to Man United, and obviously maybe a bit of a higher wage as well. That probably helps. But I wish we could have got over the line. And by what Conte was saying, it does imply that we were definitely interested in him in the summer, but we just couldn't get the deal over the line. And it's a massive shame, because I think he'd be a massive asset. But our loss is Man United's gain, and I think they've gained a fantastic footballer. He did struggle in his first couple games, but since then he's been absolutely phenomenal. You see, even in games against Liverpool and Arsenal, he's sitting in a midfield too,
orchestrating,
and he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's just picking passes over the top. He got an assist against Arsenal for their 3rd goal, running in behind as well. He knows he's obviously he's more used to playing further up the pitch, but he's showing he can play that role to a really good standard as well. And he's like playing like a little bit of like a Modric kind of role at the moment in the centre of the park. And maybe if he does play that role, you can definitely overpower him physically. But if you don't, if you're not getting close to him, he just orchestrates things. He doesn't even need that much time on the ball to pick up the right pass and do the right things. And that's something you just got to be very, very careful of, because if you're letting someone like Eriksen starting to dictate things, you're getting in trouble. Especially when we're in a 3-4-3. I think all of a sudden, if he's getting time and space on the ball, which he might do in that formation, then all of a sudden we could easily be getting overrun, and then you're going to see their forward players come into it a lot more.
Well, let's just hope he is out for one more game, because I don't fancy the prospect of facing him, to be fair. What's your score prediction tomorrow night?
I said in my prediction 1-1. Obviously, I think we do have the quality to win, and I think we do have we might have chances to win. I just feel like Man United are playing very solidly at the moment. They're not very easy to play against, especially at Old Trafford. They've shown that already. I think we will have opportunities to attack them, but whether we'll create the level of opportunities to win the game and whether we can hold Man United out and get a clean sheet. I just think it's going to be very congested. It'll be a very tight game, and I can just see it being 1 goal apiece. So I see it being kind of. I think we're going to be obviously pragmatic. We'll play usually how we defend how we usually do. And it's going to lend to a few counter-attacking opportunities, but if we don't make the most of them, then our opportunities might start to get limited as the game goes on, and that's what I'm a bit worried about. So, with United's individual quality, I can see them getting a goal, so I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if we do play that 3-5-2, that does go somewhat to kind of alleviate the risks of them, first of all, them running in behind, which either formation provides, but them also taking pop shots from distance. It should really help with that with Bissouma sitting. So hopefully we're going to go with that. And if we do go with that, I'm going to go for 1-0 to Spurs. I think that we can stifle them at Old Trafford. Newcastle did it on during the weekend. And I think we can do it as well. So I'm going to go for Spurs to win 1-0 if we play that 3-5-2 formation, because I think it should be the formation that best suits us going to play away at Old Trafford, to be honest. And I think that it could be a case where in our away games we go 3-5-2, and maybe in the home games we stick with the 3-4-3 formation. It might be maybe the way to go. Yeah,
and I think as well it might be a case of I think if we go 3-4-3, you have that worry that early doors, if we get caught cold on a couple of occasions, there might be chances for the home side. That's the biggest worry in that kind of formation. Whereas 3-5-2, you're going to be very solid from the first minute, and it's going to be very difficult for the opposition to play against you. And then once you grow into the game, maybe you can create some chances. And if it doesn't work, you can go to the 3-4-3. So I think 3-5-2, especially how we ended the last game, and with Richarlison being injured and doubts about Kulusevski, I think 3-5-2 makes the most sense. But if we do go 3-4-3 and he plays Gil or Perisic or Lucas, it would be interesting to see how they get on in that formation, and maybe they could be a bit of a wild card in that sense.
I just think it's too much of a risk to play them in this game. I really do. I think if we're going to try something like that, then play it against home, against like a opposition we're expected to win or something. This game at Old Trafford, I'll just go with solidity first. You know what I mean? Go 3-5-2, play your best players, and I think we'll reap the rewards from it.
I'm just saying. I just think it would be interesting if he would go with that way. It would be
interesting for sure.
Like he must have seen something from one of those 3 players in training to make him think, I'm going to put him in this game and he can do something. Like, imagine if he started Bryan Hill. Like that would be very interesting. Yeah. Like, why would he be starting Hill if he didn't think he could really hurt United? So that would be interesting. But yeah,
he's not stupid. He doesn't want to lose.
Exactly. But I think logically 3-5-2 makes the most sense. And I think as well, Bissouma, I want him to build on that performance he'd had in the last 30 minutes. I think that'll give him confidence, giving him a start in the next game and in the 3 as well. Obviously he had a good game against Brighton, so I want him to build that confidence, because I think he's going to be so vital for us as the season goes on. I want him to get acclimatised as soon as possible, so if he can have a good game in a big game like Old Trafford, that would give him so much confidence.
Yeah. All right, well, that is our match preview. Sim's going for 1-1. I'm going for 1-0 to Spurs. Let's move on to talk about BetMate now. BetMate, obviously a really fun fantasy league game which you can play, go head-to-head with us. There's a league this weekend for Spurs, Manchester United game where you can pick a maximum of, 6 players for one team, so that if you're going to pick 6 Spurs players, that leaves you 1 space for a Man United player. It is 2-2-2 the formation, and it's £5 to enter, and you can win a majority of the pot of £1,000. So a lot of money up for grabs for such small stakes, and it's really fun to play. If you love FPL, then you're going to absolutely love this. It's a similar scoring system, but you actually get rewarded for defensive actions as well. So you get a point for every tackle and a point for every interception. So Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg and Bentancur have been beasts in BetMate this year. But let's go and have a look at our teams. First, we'll bring up mine. So I've gone for Hugo Lloris in goal. I've gone for Diego Dalot at right in defence, who I think has actually been really good this season under Erik ten Hag, and he always gets quite a few interceptions and quite a few kind of tackles and stuff like that. I'm trying to read my team off there. I can't really read it.
That's Doherty, I think.
Is it Doherty? Yeah, I think it's Doherty. I couldn't remember if it was Doherty or Romero.
Yeah, it's Doherty there.
Yeah, it's Matt Doherty. So I think he's going to start a right wing back. He's going from strength to strength. He played really well against Brighton. got better in the last game as well. So I'm expecting Matt Doherty to have quite a good performance if he plays. In midfield, I've gone for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as captain, alongside Rodrigo Bentancur advice. So I told you they were beasts in this game, so that's why I've gone for them. And I've gone for Harry Kane and Heung-min Son up top. So I've gone very Spurs heavy.
I've gone similarly Spurs heavy, but Man United.
Serious looks in.
Yeah, very serious. It's serious business.
Like Jose Mourinho.
It's serious business. Got a tactical battle going on here. I don't choose my team lightly. Lloris in goal, Romero and Lisandro Martinez in the back too, because I think a lot of tackles and interceptions from those two should be in the offing. I've got Højbjerg in the middle alongside Bruno Fernandes, who likes a challenge and also likes a goal or an assist, so he's likely to turn up with something. And I've got Kane and Son captain up top, with Son, I believe, if Man United play as I think they might do, then I think Son, it could be the player with the space and behind to really hurt them, so I've gone for Son captain.
Yeah. Just one more before we move on to the guests. I've just been reminded by someone in the comments. Ronaldo ahead of Harry Kane in the Ballon d'Or rankings.
Which is an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. What's he done to get the Ballon d'Or positioning ahead of Kane? What's he done?
Nothing.
Even Vlahovic ahead of Kane. Why? Kane was, last season, in the second half of the season...
Though, for the first half of the season, he was anonymous.
Yeah, but he was the best player in the Premier League in the second half of the season.
Second half he was, yeah.
He was. He was getting goals, he was getting assists, he got us to top 4 as well in the Euros. He got 4 goals in 3 knockout rounds. England got to the final.
Yeah.
Does the Euros not count for anything? Is that not included?
It doesn't count for anything when you're a Spurs player, apparently.
Why? I think... so people talk about Kane stepping up in big moments. 4 goals in 3 knockout rounds for Harry Kane in the Euros.
Didn't they get same amount of goals last season, Ronaldo and Kane?
I think Kane got 17 and Ronaldo got 18.
Yeah.
So
one more.
So, but when you put assists in there, I think Kane got a lot more assists as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we finished higher than Man United in the league. So I think Kane had a much better year than Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know. I know Ronaldo did well, but I don't see how he deserves a placing ahead of Harry Kane with how Harry Kane's playing.
His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. That's pretty much it.
He got ahead. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get why he's so high. Well, I mean, he didn't. He had a good year, but wasn't that good.
Yeah,
he should have been that
high.
Where
did he finish, Ronaldo?
20th. Kane 21.
Oh, Kane 21.
And Son finished 11th.
Yeah.
So just outside the top 10, but pretty good placing for him.
Mo Salah, where did he finish?
I think in the top 5. I think he finished in the top 5. I think Lloris finished 10th in the goalkeeper award, which is
interesting.
Decent. People saying he's no good yet. Apparently, he's the 10th best keeper last year in the whole of Europe. So it's pretty good going.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably only one player that's going to be in the running for Ballon d'Or next season, right?
Who? Harry Kane.
Erling Haaland.
You mean for what do you mean?
For next season's Ballon d'Or.
You mean he's going to win it, the whole Ballon? Well, I think it's too early to say, but it looks like at the moment he's definitely going to. I thought you meant from Spurs, who's going to be in the running.
Well, Harry Kane, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. What's it called? Before we move on to some guests, DiMarzio has been talking about the Conte contract situation and Harry Kane and other things. He was asked about talking about Conte's contract. He said Antonio Conte definitely wants to stay at Tottenham, and obviously he's a very successful manager, so he wants to keep winning. But if Tottenham and Conte are not on the same page when it comes to winning trophies, he could go back to a big club in Italy, which I'm guessing he's implying Juventus. Hopefully,
or Inter. Inter aren't doing too great either.
Or Inter, maybe.
But will he want to go back to Inter after they sold off all his best players? Who knows?
Well, I think to be fair, I think they've recruited fairly well, haven't they, Inter? So maybe he would be more open to it. But look, let's hope Tottenham keep him happy. That's the main thing. If we need to keep investing. Talking about Harry Kane, he says, I think Kane's future depends on Conte's future. Whether Conte will extend his contract with Tottenham. If Conte stays, it's because he really wants to improve and win the Premier League and the Champions League. And he was talking about potential interest in Cody Gakpo. He says, I know Cody very well. He's a very good player. I think Man United, Arsenal, or Tottenham, I think, need other players like him to have a bigger squad. To have a bigger squad than one of those teams. It depends on what PSV want for him. So interesting if we were to go for someone like Cody Gakpo in January. That'd be a very good signing, I think. I would very much want to improve the forward line options, and he can cover again left and right. He'll be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, that is your preview and a bit of other stuff after it as well.